Nee?
Nog niet. Ik ga net gou opvolg.
Voorzitter, terwyl jy moet sê opvolg, kan ek dalk net vra, ek sien een van ons resolusies was dat ons al die toesomsentrums gaan besoek, maar ek het geen idee hoeveel daar is nie en of dit nie 'n te ambisieuse teiken is nie. Ek wil nie sê dat dit verkeerd genotuleer is nie, dit kan heel moontlik so gesê gewees het in die
Is reg voorsitter, ons kan gaan.
Yeah, thank you. We have a quorum now. Good morning, colleagues. Honorable van der Westhuizen and Honorable Smith. Today is the 2nd of February 2021. It's a meeting of the Standing Committee on Local Government. The agenda for this meeting is one, consideration and adoption of draft committee reports in relation to the annual report of the Department of Local Government for the financial year 2019 and 2020. Secondly, minutes of the meeting of the 7th of December. Fourthly, quarterly report that's from October 2020 to December 2020. Furthermore, we will try to formulate and finalize a written program for the current period, and then we will look at resolutions and actions if they are possible. So, can I just ask the members who are present to identify themselves and record their presence, please?
Honorable voorsitter, I'm Frank van der Westhuizen, lid van die komitee.
Goeiemôre, Lucas.
Apologies, I'm still in the process of to get member Maseko into the meeting, and I'm sure as soon as we've done that, we can mark her present as well.
Thank you. Colleagues, as you know, this meeting is conducted on a virtual basis using the Microsoft Teams platform. We are all conversant with the rules that's applicable to our virtual meetings, and I'd like to just to remind colleagues that if you require any technical assistance, our IT staff, Tasfir and sorry, colleagues, sorry, could I just repeat? If members require any technical assistance, we have the capable assistants on call and on the platform, and Mr. Isam Siraj, and Miss Candice Morris. So they're here to assist us. I need not to remind all members that at the start of the meeting we're all muted, and when you are making a contribution or whatever, please do not forget to unmute yourself. I would just want to mention that the meeting is an open meeting. It's open to the public, and therefore it will be available for public viewing on YouTube, and the meeting is for all practical purposes also recorded. So colleagues, without much further ado, unfortunately I need to remind you that due to the limitation of our resources available at this stage, that we don't have any translation services available. So I would like to request members to conduct their communication in English so that
Thank you, Chair. Chair, I
it
think we
doesn't
can
require
and
at this stage any
I think we can ask the procedural
translation.
officers for
But if need
guidance.
be,
My
we will make a
understanding is
plan
that
if
the
the
annual
need
report
arises.
is
So
debated
as I
and
was saying
deliberated
earlier,
in a
colleagues,
committee,
this need not to
and
be a
thereafter
very, very
it's
long
captured as
meeting,
such.
but
But the
you know,
agreement or
the duration of the
requesting is
discussion,
only for
because we
a
are
budget.
merely here assembled to adopt reports which we have received from the procedural officer. And so I hope that we have gone through the reports, that if there's anything that need to be changed, that's not fairly accurate in the report, we will certainly make those necessary changes. So the very first
Morning,
report,
members. Good morning, Chairperson, Member Dapper.
before we
You're quite
proceed,
right. We are basically
are there any
adopting the
questions
report. And
anybody would
then the
like to ask at
process
this
thereafter
stage?
would be that the programming will then
In
schedule
the
the
absence of
vote
any
for
questions,
discussion of the House.
I would
And at that stage, the
move
different
that
parties
we
will then deliberate
proceed
on the
with
various reports of the
the
respective standing
first
committees.
agenda item,
Yeah, but that is the process
that
you can
being
follow for
the
this annual report period currently.
adoption of the committee report, let me see, of the Standing Committee on Local Government on the annual report of the Department of Local Government for the financial year 2019-2020. Johan, would you like to flight the report, or shall I do it?
I do it quickly, Chairperson.
Okay. So colleagues, as you have gone through the report, this report is merely a sort of a summary of the meeting where the report was discussed on the 7th of December last year. It makes reference to the section that the committee was tasked to deal with. And the only sections that were not scrutinized and interrogated by the committee was section C and section E that were dealt with at the Public Accounts Committee. So, there's the introduction, and if you go down the report here, it will just describe to us what was discussed and what was sort of agreed to. And then we have just an overview that deals with what transpired. And in point 3, it speaks to the information that we requested from the department, and one being 3.1, the Municipal Accounts Committee's impacts in the Western Cape, indicating when they are established, the number of meetings held to date, the number of training sessions attended by members of the committee, and the composition of the various impacts. And 3.2, two song centers in the Western Cape and the government services provided by those two song centers. So those were the information that were requested at the meeting. And number 4, the resolutions that were taken is one, that we invite the department to brief the committee on the operations of the impacts and to meet with the various impacts. And secondly, visit all Tucson centers to view the services and operations of these centers and the accessibility to the communities. And that is basically a sort of a summary of the
That's the last page, Chairperson, which is the
proceedings
expenditure
that took
of
place
the
at
committee.
that particular meeting on the 7th of December. I may also add that if one look at the minutes of the 7th of December, they're fairly similar. So it's an expression of what should have transpired at the meeting. So
Nothing from my side, Chair.
my question to you, colleagues, is whether you are in agreement with the accuracy of the content of that report, or those the real sort of elements that we extracted from the report? Is there anything that is omitted that needs to be added? Any inaccuracies, please provide an opportunity now for us to raise those before we call for the adoption. I see Honorable van der Westhuizen's hand. Honorable van der Westhuizen, I recognize you.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, thank you very much. I believe that the document in front of us is an accurate reflection of the discussions of the 7th of December. I just am concerned that as we have not yet received a list of all the impacts and all the song centers, that particularly the paragraph 4.2, visit all the two song centers to view the services and operations of these centers, that target may be a bit over ambitious. Now, there are probably three ways in which we can deal with this, and I would like to hear from the other members and yourself, Chair, and also our procedural officer to obtain his advice. The first one is, obviously we cannot change a decision that's been taken and correctly minuted, but we can probably follow that up with an amended decision. That's the first one. The second one is for the resolution to stand as it is, and then eventually we might be found wanting, in the sense that particularly with the lockdown regulations, the changes since then, that people will understand that we were unable to fulfill our own ambitious targets. And then the third one is probably for us to, at this meeting or a later meeting, then formally adopt an amended target in this regard. So I do not know between those three options that I see, and there may be even more that others may propose, which one you would prefer. I personally wouldn't like us to adopt something which in the current circumstances with the lockdown regulations, etc., might prove to be overly ambitious, and therefore eventually it is seen as can I call it a failure or a non-performance from the committee side. So your views, other members and the procedural officer would be welcomed. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable van der Westhuizen. Good morning, Honorable Marab.
With the proofreading team, which consists
See
of Provincial,
you have joined the meeting.
myself,
Morning, Chairperson. Morning,
and
everyone.
partner of the Premier's
Colleagues,
legal advisor as well as their language
there's
practitioner.
a view expressed by Honorable van der Westhuizen. I think that
briefing with the committee.
yeah, we can discuss it. Honorable Smith,
we cannot distribute that.
I recognize you.
Two members yet until we have finalized the
Chair, thank you so much.
because they can
Chair,
be
I just
grammar
lost
issues
you.
and things like that, that we have to
I mean, you were
clarify
still
with,
saying that
with the team.
is
And
this
once
a
that
true
is
reflection of,
completed, we
and
will,
then I lost you. And then I
we're
heard
just looking at the proofreading
Member
schedule
Andrika
that
spoke
in March
after
we'd
that.
like to
So I
have
wasn't
a
sure what
briefing,
the question or
to
what
the
was it
committee should
that
be
you
briefed
as the
by the partner
chairperson
of the
wanted.
Premier once
But
that
listening
is processed.
to Honorable
So we're looking at the middle of
Andrikas van
March, like you
Westhuizen,
say.
I just wanted to make sure, say, are we now discussing
Yes, through you, Chairperson.
the
We looked at
matters
the
out of this
17th of
minutes,
March,
or is
which
this
will be basically during the appropriation stage meeting.
actually
But
just
we
an adoption
envisage,
of,
if all goes
look,
well
this
with
is what was
proofreading,
happening,
then our
and
first
this is the
initial review will be
resolutions
in March.
whether we implemented it or not. This is what was discussed in this meeting. Or I'm not sure, Chair, just guide me on this one.
No, for sure. No, you're right, Honourable Smith. I think you're correct. We're not discussing the merits of its execution. We simply just consider the accuracy of the report in terms of what was decided at the meeting on the 7th of December. So what Honourable Drickus was saying is that although he does not dispute the accuracy of, Jan, I'll recognize you now, does not dispute the accuracy of it. He feels that maybe at some stage we need to discuss the execution of one of the resolutions. I don't have any problem with that, but it is not. It doesn't pertain. It doesn't influence our ability to adopt the report or not. So you're perfectly correct, Honourable Smith. Johan, I see you. Honourable Moran, I recognize you, please.
Morning again. Chair, yes, the Honourable Smith is correct that if it's the minutes, we actually should discuss the correctness of it. But Honourable van der Westhuizen basically, and I think if I understand him correct, asked the question whether the decision that this committee have taken, a specific one, if that's, will it be possible to execute? And if not, Chair, then you were saying that it might seem at the later stage that that specific, it's a failure. We have set ourselves up for failure. Does it then think that at a later stage, Chair, that specific item should be brought back to this committee for another decision to be taken on it? What do we suggest? Okay. I don't want us to discuss this. I'm just asking.
For sure. Noted. We will flesh it out further as we adopt the minutes. Johan, you were flashing there, vociferously over time now. Is there anything you want to say?
Sorry, Chairperson. Yes. No, maybe just to guide the committee, we are in the process of adopting the report. So members are welcome to amend of these resolutions as they wish to, because that is why we are here today. Perhaps one could amend it that upon receipt of the list as requested in paragraph 3.2, the committee will prioritize Tusong centers to visit. So we can still amend it. To visit all Tusong centers might be an overkill and not maybe feasible, but I think maybe one can amend it accordingly.
Thank you, Johan, for that sort of insight and guidance. So colleagues, before we adopt, we could amend the resolution, and then we can have it amended report adopted. Honourable Moran,
Chair, can the Honourable there his hand up, because I thought maybe he will come up with a recommendation what he thinks will work for us.
Thank you, Honourable Moran. Honourable van der Westhuizen, I recognize you.
Yes, thank you, Chair. Chair, I therefore propose that on the report, we remove the word all, visit the Tusong centers. Also, I think when it says the committee resolved to at a future date, perhaps one could just say resolve to in the future, because it will not be a specific day or date. And with those two amendments on the report, I propose that when we get to the minutes that we stay with the minutes of what was said on the 7th of December, but here the resolutions do not say, but specifically, these were the resolutions of the 7th of December. So it's, from what I heard, was that we can still, as a committee, amend our previous resolution for the purposes of this report. So just to say in the future, and then the removal of the word all. Those would be my proposals.
Okay.
So
Honorable
the word date should be then removed. Sorry.
Honorable Moran, you wanted to say something?
No, Chair, if you just look then, you listen to the Honorable Van der Westhuizen. If you look at resolutions, the committee resolved that then it means that the word date at the end of the first sentence must be removed. That in future.
Okay, so thank you, noted. Johan, you wanted to say something?
Yeah. No, Chairperson, I did amend it. It's on the screen. Let me just.
I see it's in red. Yes.
Yes. So it will read: the committee resolved to, in the future, and then paragraph 4.2, visit the Tusong centers to view the services, and etc.
To visit the Tusong centers, sort of. Can't we say visit identified Tusong centers?
You can.
Because visit Tusong centers, that presupposes that we'll visit all Tusong centers. So identified will not bind us to visiting all. Hi, good morning, Honorable Maseku. Welcome. Okay, you wanted to say something, please?
I struggled, but God is good.
Yes.
Okay, my suggestion is to agree with you that we say that we visit the identity.
Right, is there anything else that members would like to raise in relation to the report? If not, could I have a mover and a shaker that we adopt the report as amended?
I move support of the report.
Okay, thank you. Johan, you want to say something?
No, Chairperson, sorry.
So there's a Honorable Van der Westhuizen and seconded by Honorable Maseko that we adopt the report as amended. So thank you, colleagues. Honorable Moran, is that an old hand, previous hand, a new hand? Sake of completeness, just peruse the minutes again and see if the attendance is recorded correctly. All of the members who are on the platform today were at the meeting. So the content of the minutes is basically the same as the content of the report, in the sense that we have additional information. meeting in the minutes. Right, colleagues?
Agreed. And I
Okay.
propose that we adopt the minutes
Is a
as it
proposal
was
that we
circulated.
adopt? Is a proposal that we adopt the minutes as correct? Is
I
there a
second
second?
it, Chair.
Is a seconded to it? Thank you, colleagues. And that concludes the second item on the agenda. The third item deals with the quarterly report from October to December 2020. Those were also circulated to members. Colleagues, that report deals with the activities of the committee over that period of time. It deals with the normal obligatory items, who we are and what our mandate is, that to whom we report to, not report to, who reports to us. So it's basically just a department. There's no specific entity that does so. And then deals with the matters that we've dealt with over within a particular quarter. And one of the matters that took place, we had an oversight visit to Kanlan municipality as part of the NCOP delegation, and we had our own sort of program also on the side. And then we held meetings. We had 4 meetings, one on the 13th of October 2020, and then another on the 13th of November 2020, 27th of November 2020, and then the 7th of December 2020. And the purpose and what happened at those meetings are listed. And then, colleagues, we have our members' attendance at those meetings. Just check whether your attendance had been correctly recorded. And all of our members present, with the exception of Honorable Seko. There's on the 28th of October, it's an apology. Right, and Honorable Smith did not attend our meeting on the 13th of November. Right, and then no meetings are postponed or cancelled. We had NTOP and provincial legislation that was referred and finalized by this committee. That's all was all concluded on the 18th of November. And then lastly, we didn't have any cluster visits. We had one oversight visit, and that is the Kanlan municipality. The report was considered on the 7th of December, as we've stated. And then lastly, colleagues, that brings us to the budget. We had an annual allocation of 100,000, of which we spent 93,894, and that was largely in relation to the processing of the Municipal Structures Amendment Bill and the associated costs for advertising and those kind of stuff, and participation process. Right. And colleagues, now that is the end of the quarterly report. Any comments, changes, additions that we need to consider before we adopt the report?
Chair.
No changes, Chair.
Honorable
My
van der
side,
Wes. Honorable van der Wes, I recognize you.
Yes, thank you, Chair. Can I just ask that we go to page 4, it's point 6. It's just above table 7. It's the meeting of the 27th of November. There it says Sorry, let me just bring up the one that I've got in front of me, the report, local government report. There's one where it says the committee adopted, sorry now, that's good. The 27th deliberation, consideration and adoption of the committee report, local government. Sorry, Johan, it seems to me it's then the one a little bit lower down, not 27th of November. It's one that deals with, that's it, sorry, 7th of December. Just try and read that a third column where it's under bullets 2.1, 2.2, consideration and adoption of draft committee minutes of 13th of November 2020 and 27th of November 2020, that's fine. But then consideration and adoption of draft committee on local government on its oversight visit. So I was just wondering of draft committee report of the Committee on Local Government.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah,
I'm not sure if the word if it would improve the document if we add the word report of committee.
Yeah, that's an oversight. Yeah, Honourable van der Best says, you're correct. It will make it much clearer as to what we have adopted. Okay.
Noted, Chairperson, I'll do the amendment.
Right,
It must be a cut and paste gone wrong there.
Okay, thank you. Okay, colleagues. Anything else you'd like to highlight? In the absence of any further changes, could I ask that we adopt the report? Is there somebody that would move that we adopt the quarterly report as presented and amended?
I move, Chair.
Thank you, Honourable van der Westhuizen.
I second, Chair.
Thank you, Honourable Maseko. So, colleagues, that would then brings us to the last point on the agenda. No, the second last one is the committee program, draft committee program. Johan, could you put that on the screen, please? Thank you, colleagues. Thank you, Johan. So Jan, we have circulated the draft or two members for matters to be considered, and colleagues, it's really uncertain times in terms of what anyway, let me just reserve it. Honourable Maseko, I recognize you.
Chair, I was going to say, since we are in difficult times, can we adopt it as it is and leave for you and the procedural officer to populate it, as you might find some challenges as and when to say what is going to happen? We'll just take a lead from you, Chair.
Thank you, Honourable Maseko. Jan, I recognize you.
No, sorry, Chair. I don't know why my hand keeps flickering.
Okay, fine, thank you. Colleagues, there's a proposal from Honourable Maseko is that we, confer the prerogative over to myself and Johan, that we populate the program at least for the next quarter, and then circulate it amongst members for your input, and then at the next meeting we can then consider adopting that program. Is that in order?
Agreed to, Chair.
Okay, fine. Anybody, any objections? Thank you, colleagues. Thank you. We will do that and circulate a draft program to the committee within the next week. Good. Then lastly, colleagues, any resolutions at this stage or things that we need to consider, actions that we need to take at this point in time? I know it is early days, but you are free to propose any resolutions or things that we need to give urgent attention to. Honorable Maseko, I recognize you.
Thank you. We really appreciate your blank check of the resolutions, but we are fine. So far, so good, Chair.
Thank you so much. Anybody else? Okay. Thank you. In the absence of any specific resolutions at this stage, may I take this opportunity to thank you all for being present at this meeting this morning and for your continued participation and support. Furthermore, let me express my heartfelt appreciation to our procedural officer, Johan Kutsi, and his senior, Johan van Welen, for your support as well. And last but not least, the capable Candice Morris and Siraj Hassan for your technical support in ensuring that we conduct our meetings as smoothly as possible. And on that note, colleagues, I declare the meeting closed. Thank you so much. Have a good